Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Welcome to the first episode of Pixel Journey. Today's episode will be about the latest 2D Mario game, and that is Super Mario Bros. Wonder. So, since about the last console era, the 2D world of Mario Bros. Has been getting a bit stale and repetitive. I think everyone can agree that the new Super Mario Bros. Series was anything but new. It started to feel very plain, it started to feel very samey, and it wasn't as fun as the previous Mario games were, and I'm pretty sure everyone agrees with that. At least everyone on the internet that I've read thoughts about have agreed with that statement. When at the Nintendo Direct, they announced an actual new Super Mario Bros. Game in the name of Super Mario Wonder. I think everyone was really excited about the potential that this game could have, because with a new game like Wonder, they showed off the new poppy art style. It was more cartoony instead of whatever the last one was. I can't even really explain it. But it was bubbly, it was bright, it really felt alive. It was more animated with the expressions, the movements, everything in the game. Even the background was more animated. I felt like, even with the last set of Mario games, the backgrounds were pretty good, but I feel like this took another step. Even with some of the background elements you could go into during the game, I just thought that they really were trying to breathe a breath of fresh air into the 2D Mario games, because I felt even they were recognizing that they were getting stale and people weren't as excited about it, even though the new games on the DS, they sold well. New Super Mario's U Deluxe on the Switch sold well. Like a bunch of them. They sold well, but I feel like they weren't enjoyed as much as, say, 3D World and just any other games in the Mario franchise. I feel like they were kind of the little stepchild that was overlooked. And not only did they bring a new art style to kind of revamp and set a new standard for the 2D games, they also took us out of the Mushroom Kingdom. And so now we are exploring the Flower Kingdom with a whole cast of new characters we have not seen before, new enemies to encounter. Just everything felt new, it felt fresh, it felt fun. With the previous games, I would go in, I would have Koopas, I would have Goombas, I would have the Koopalings for bosses, and that was basically it. I would have some new path, and I felt like the games weren't that challenging, and that would be it, rinse and repeat. With this game, I feel like the entire formula has been shuffled around, and they're really trying. I feel like a lot of passion has gone into Mario Wonder, and I love it. The first thing is the Flower Kingdom has a bunch of new characters. You get your new buddy, the Prince of the land, and he helps you by collecting badges for you to activate and use. I feel like that in itself is super amazing. It just gives you so much more like versatility in character selection, because if you didn't know, the characters basically all play the same. The ability to play as them, it's basically just skins. You no longer have to play Luigi to get the bigger jump. You don't have to play as Peach to get the slow descent. Just anything like that. And they are kind of divided into two sections for the character select. You have the players that you would normally get in any game. They can use the power-ups. They get hurt by enemies when they run into them, so on and so forth. And that is Mario, Luigi, Peach, and now Daisy. Daisy is now a playable character, and I do love that, and I actually picked her for my playthrough. And she's just really fun. There's nothing unique about her, but I don't know, she's just fun. And then you have all 4 colored Yoshis and the Nabbit, and those are safe mode. They are more for if you have someone who might not be as familiar with video games or platforms specifically, if you have a younger child, like a young sibling playing, those are safe bets. I actually went home for one of the holiday breaks that we recently had, and I played with my parents. Neither of them have really played a bunch of video games. My mom has a Switch with Animal Crossing, and that is basically her entire knowledge of video games, aside from some games that I made her play back during the time that we had a Wii. And then my dad, I feel like he's a bit better with understanding that stuff, but still they struggled. So I suggested them both play as Yoshis. And that allowed them to have a lot more fun because they didn't really understand what was happening in the video game. They couldn't recognize enemies that would hurt them if they were playing the other characters and different things that you shouldn't interact with. So even they said, yes, I'm having more fun as playing Yoshi. I might not have the power-ups, but I'm not dying. Because if my mom even admitted, if she was continually dying, like I said, she would be if she kept running into these things. She said she would have gotten a lot more frustrated. And really, she was just getting kind of frustrated with her and my dad having to simultaneously be on the same screen. And if my dad was running through the level as player one with the star over his head, the screen follows him, then my mom would get left behind, and kind of vice versa. So the struggle wasn't even with the game mechanics itself, it was just keeping each other together. And so that I do feel like is a great mechanic. My only one gripe is I really wanted to play Yoshi, so if you could just turn on safe mode for whatever character, because what if you have a little sibling that wants to play Peach? Then she's just gonna get frustrated because she's just keep dying. So that is my one little gripe, but it doesn't even really count because they've done such a good job at the multiplayer and being able to have these two sets of characters, and you have 4 options on each side. So I feel like that is really good. And so kind of back to the badge system. As you progress through the world, you will get badge challenges, which will open up opportunities to use those badges. And they kind of give you normal abilities that you've seen throughout the Mario games. Like you get the double jump, you can get a vertical wall climb to where you can just do a double bounce, and just different things. One that I noticed was the dolphin kick, and that is really useful in water levels, but if you don't have water in the level, it's kind of useless. So it's very situational. And then there's some like one that's really fun is you get a big hat and it slows your descent. That is basically useful in whatever level. So it's very fun to mix and match and to kind of go back and figure out what you want to use for what level. And it opens up different play styles. So that it's really fun. It's really more customizable than any Mario game in the past. And with each world, I feel like even the worlds were really nice. I feel like they were a bit smaller than past Mario games, but they were more creative. So I didn't feel like the game was super short. I felt really satisfied with the amount of content in it. I feel like each new section introduced new enemies, which was really fun, and I kind of had to look and figure out what they did. My favorite was probably the little buddies that would kick the ice cube back and forth to each other. Those guys were probably my favorite. And then like the hippos, that was really fun. Just they were really creative, and some even would eat blocks in the levels, which one actually included, if you didn't get to it fast enough, it would eat the block with the Wonder Seed in it. So I really enjoyed the amount of new ideas that they put into this game, and I think that can really be seen by just playing a few levels. One of the major things that was given to us in the trailers for Mario Wonder was the power-ups. So there's a small handful of power-ups. There's, I think, 4 total, and the Fire Flyer makes a comeback from previous games. You can throw fireballs at people. Then the next one is one that I don't see people talk about a lot because it's kind of not people's favorite, and that's the drill. I liked it for the cave sections, and I think it was really fun for it. You can go into the ground, so you can dodge enemies. You can break the glass tiles, encapsulating different things. You can actually go into the ceiling. And it also had the bonus of if enemies would fall on your head, it would automatically just hurt them and you wouldn't have to do anything. So I thought that one was good, but it wasn't anything to write home about. My personal favorite was the bubble flower, and it gives you the ability to throw bubbles everywhere, and it would get, if there was fireballs thrown at you, it would stop them. You can trap enemies in them, and they would turn to coins, and you can also use them for extra platforms to get somewhere higher if you need to. And so that was my favorite. It was just really fun. And then the main power-up that everyone was talking about, it was shown, it was the primary focus in all the trailers, was the elephant apple. And it turns you into an elephant version, not just a costume. And it was probably the most versatile one. You can use your trunk to attack enemies, just fling them away. You can break blocks with it. And also, if you get into water, it fills your trunk up and you can use it to water kind of dead flowers. And I thought that this was really creative. You can really engage with your surroundings in it. And so it was fun, but it was also, you were kind of bulky. So that's kind of why the bubble was my favorite, but the elephant was my second favorite by far. So with each new world, you got a different theme. So there was, of course, the kind of natural kind of Greenland theme. You had a water world, you had an ice world, you had a desert world. You also had, of course, like the final boss one was kind of a volcano theme. You also had kind of this cloud-like world. It was world 2. You had a poison swamp themed world. I feel like each themed world was really done well. All the themes were really coherent, and something that I feel like was taken inspiration from Super Mario Odyssey was the creatures in the world that populate the world that's being tormented by Bowser are poplins, and there's actually poplin shops in each world, and you can use them to you can buy badges from them, you can buy standees, which I'll touch on in a second, and you can even buy lives. And so you can literally buy, if you get further enough into the game, 99 lives with coins that you get. And the main reason that they're there is you can buy a Wonder Seed. And it really reminds me a lot of Mario Odyssey because you could buy a moon from the shops, and now you can buy a Wonder Seed. So I think it's cute, and I liked it. And so, like with the standees, kind of going back to the multiplayer section, you can throw a standee up, and when you die, you turn into a little ghost, and you can just fly back to the standee. You don't have to worry about another player having to come over and like touch your ghost and then you come back. So it's just being more independent with it, because during my playthrough with my family, it was very chaotic and it was really actually hard for us to get to the ghosts. So that was just like another like little bonus. And so you can customize them with kind of like a little gacha system with getting different standees. So that was super fun. And so in the world themselves, even the levels have a new kind of aspect to them. So with each world, you have different challenge levels to them. So each world section will be listed with 1 star being like easy difficulty, pretty simple, to up to 5 star, which is really hard. You're gonna spend a lot of time on it, and everything in between. So that was really fun because each level, you're not going to worry about the earlier worlds being a breeze to get through and then the later worlds being super challenging the entire way through. So I really loved that, having challenges sprinkled in between. And in addition to that, you also have the badge challenges, which they'll give you a badge and you do a specific challenge that kind of encapsulates the purpose of the badge. My favorite was probably the wall jump one, where it was kind of like a little maze and you had to go through and just kind of get to the top. And they had the big 10 coins kind of scattered in ways that you had to kind of go out of your way to get to them. And so that was really fun. And so inside the levels, you will have different collectibles. You can find little fragments of purple coins, which you can use to buy stuff from the Poplin shops. And then in each world, there is 3 purple 10 coins that are hidden. And those are like kind of like the main like collectibles to go around along with the Wonder Seeds. And so those really increase the replayability for these levels, because there's some, if you want to get all of the collectibles, all 3 of the 10 coins, and between 1 to 3 Wonder Seeds in the level, you will have to go through and do it 2 or 3 times sometimes. And I really liked that, because if you had to go through it and say a level had 2 different Wonder Seeds that you need to get, one will have it in a completely different way that you have to play the level. And so you will essentially go through 2 different levels to get the full experience. And I really enjoyed it. It really made you think. You really had to look around for, okay, where could the Wonder Seed be? Okay, this seems like a different path. And it's just such a new way of going about a Mario game. So for a quick thing, if you want to 100% it, you will actually need to get all 3 of the purple tin coins for each level. You'll need to get all of the Wonder Seeds that are in the level, and you also need to hit the top of the flagpole for each level. Have I done that? No. Will I? Probably not. I'm gonna be honest, that's a lot of work. So some of the things that I was kind of let down about in this game that I overall love, and I think I've given it like 4.5 stars in my rating, is I feel like the bosses were the issue. So every time you would fight a mini boss, it was Bowser Jr. Like, that was the only one. You fought Bowser Jr. and then at the final boss you fight Bowser. And the Bowser Jr. fight, at first it was fun. I really liked that they included the Wonder Seed for Bowser Jr. and had him do like the weird and wacky stuff. But it got really repetitive as you kept going. I feel like they could have done more. I see a bunch of people saying, oh, they could have done massive versions of some of the new enemies and gave them Wonder Seeds. They could have even brought back the Koopalings and given them the Wonder Seed abilities and really changed up their styles. And I feel like any option would have been great to use. I feel like if you use Bowser Jr. for like, say, like the final mini boss fight, that would have been great and kind of worked your way up to him. But the fact that you fight him every single time was a bit tedious. I still liked it better than the ship levels, to where you'd go through a great level and then at the end you would have to just run through a conveyor belt and hit a button. Those levels were the most let down for me, but thankfully they're few and far between. So it's not like you're having to go every single world. You have to do that. So that, like, it could have been a lot worse. And I do really like the final fight with Bowser. I thought it was good. I felt like it could be a little bit longer, but overall, I thought it was a good final boss for it. So my overall thoughts for Mario Wonder is, it's a great game. It actually introduced a fresh new style, an actual new kind of 2D Mario game to the franchise, and I really hope that they continue with it. I thought that the themes were great. I thought the introduction of new characters and new enemies were perfect. And just a few like tweaks here and there would have made this an easy 5 out of 5 game. And it's already still like a 4.5. I highly recommend this to everyone who asked me. And just overall, just a great platformer game for someone who grew up and loves platformer games. So let me know in whatever platform that you're watching this. If you're on YouTube, give it a like, subscribe if you like gaming content. We have a bunch on the channel. Drop a comment below. Did you like Mario Wonder? Have you played it yet? Are you going to play it? What were your thoughts? What were your favorite things? What were the things that kind of bugged you about the game? If you're listening to this on Spotify, drop 5-star ratings, share it around. That's really helpful. And just kind of let me know. I try and do a Q&A question for each episode. Just respond and let me know what you think. And so that's going to be it for the first actual episode of Pixel Journey. And I hope that you guys like it, and I hope that this will be a fun kind of new thing to get on the channel. So thank you all for watching, no matter which way you're watching it, and I hope you have a great week. Bye!